Well, another episode of Andor just dropped, and this one's following on exactly from the events on Aldhani. So, spoiler warnings if you haven't seen it yet. Things have automatically begun to liven up across the galaxy. First thing I think the episode's done very well is we're seeing the Imperial bureaucracy of the Imperial Security Bureau pretty much having to go into overdrive to keep up. The raid in Aldhani, I think, has woken everyone up to the reality of the rebellion. It was nice to see the fact that we've seen pretty much the Empire has now been awakened to the fact of there is a rebellion, there is something going on, and the actions being taken are becoming huge. You've got Cassian Andor going his own way, you've got the different moralities working in the rebellion. You've got Mon Mothma, who's pretty much the leader of the rebellion, saying the fact they raid on Aldhani will lead to suffering. But then again, the Empire is basically playing into the rebellion's hands. And her man who makes everything work is pretty much going along the lines of this was going to happen either way. We've seen the Imperial Star Destroyer fly over, which is something very nice to see. I never thought I'd see that, but nonetheless the fact the Empire's rolling in everywhere. We have Imperial garrisons. Also, I think the fact that everyone's favourite law enforcement officer and inspector on Ferrex, well, he's gotten himself another job. This time as some kind of data clerk, working as a cog in a massive machine somewhere. Then there's the fact that the Imperial security and other departments are running through. Palpatine has been said of putting bills to the Imperial Senate that will greatly increase the powers of Imperial enforcement. Sentencing guidelines have changed. What else? Traditions that being used to cover rebel activity are now being no longer tolerated. The Empire is basically becoming what it would become during the Star Wars original trilogy. And also, at the same time, probably leading more people to rebellion as it goes. But if there's one thing that the Empire doesn't do well, it's tolerate things. So that's nice to see. Another thing I think is also the fact that we're seeing the different ways of doing things in the rebellion. One side, or one of the conspirators in the Aldhani raid, one of the people behind it, one of the lead of the whole thing, meets on Coruscant with, I think, somewhat another operative from another rebel. And we're seeing the different moralities tales. In other words, she doesn't quite really agree with the whole idea of rebellion. Meanwhile, the other one, it seems like the fact of, I get to blow things up. The fact, well, it's a rebellion. There are going to be casualties. And at the same time, Mon Mothma and her man on the inside of the rebellion, who arranges a lot of it, she and him have a discussion about the morality of the whole thing. Mon Mothma says that millions will suffer, but at the same time, she can't really do anything about it because this is ultimately what she wanted. She wants a rebellion, she's going to get a rebellion. I think the other good thing was seeing the fact that Mon Mothma is getting, well, some much needed time. We're seeing exactly how she lives in the Imperial High Society. And the fact that the public Mon Mothma that she puts on is basically nothing short of an irritant, a busybody, who just does moral things morally because that's what she does. I think the other interesting thing as well is the fact that she wants to help the rebellion, but the money she has access to is limited. And if she wants to really get something going, she needs, well, a lot of money, and she does actually come from a wealthy family. This wealthy family seems to be part of the reason why, but she can't quite access her family accounts. Or she can't do it so easily. Unless she's on Chandrila, but she's at the seat of Imperial power, where all the power is. I think another also good thing was the fact of Andor going basically home, meeting with pretty much his mother and I think quite possibly his only real friend. And basically, he realized the consequences of his actions. The best thing about the episode, though, was the fact that the ISB agent, who I think is going to play a major role in the story, has been showing her initiative and also clashing jurisdictionally with another agent. Now, that agent wants to basically get her out of his business, as he's a bureaucrat, and rules must be followed and everything else. However, the old man in charge of the meetings and everything else, I guess the chairman of their section, realises the fact that Supervisor Mira, she's known, is actually showing the kind of initiative I think that will be beneficial going forward. As a result, he's moved things about for her. But at the same time, I get the funny feeling that this is not proactive stance is only going to lead to trouble, as who knows what she could run afoul of. The other thing I think is the fact that, in regards to the fact of Andor, what's he going to do with all the money he's got? After he pays off a couple of debts, he then goes to a beach and has a holiday. I mean, I think that's what he does. I think he just decides to spend all the money he's got and just get drunk. So he goes to a beach pleasure planet, somewhere nice and warm and hot. The best bit of thing about the episode, though, was I think is the fact of he runs into trouble along with an Imperial shore trooper, and then we see exactly just what kind of charges he got done with. We're also seeing like how the Imperial justice system works. Basically, it seems almost to the fact of if you get done or something, you are innocent or rather guilty until proven innocent. Or basically you're just guilty. As a result, what we see is someone just going like dunk on an old-fashioned machine. Basically they say their name, and then crimes are listed out, and then she goes like, no sentence, dunk, works the machine, and then next, and then it's on to the next one. And Cassian Andor saying the fact he's just a tourist and it was just all a misunderstanding, when in actual fact he's getting 6 years in prison. For pretty much, I think, just whatever the shore trooper could think of, basically. Just so he can meet his arrest quota. While also probably bagging a rebel. And probably, maybe, I don't know, probably keeping his supervisor off his back for about a few days so he doesn't have to catch the next one. That was also very good to see. And the fact that the consequences are becoming almost instant across the board. And the fact that Andor's list of crimes, everything is coming together. Which begs the question, if Andor has given up on rebelling now and he only did the job because it was just a job, I think that possibly he's going to actually do the thing he's going to do. After all, a man like Andor has a unique set of skills, come from all kinds of ill-gotten gains. So odds on, he's going to become out of prison, be broken out, and then he's going to become part of the Rebel Alliance, or part of some rebel group where he gains the skills for Spec Ops he did. Well, that was a good episode. Thanks for watching. I'm the Universal Challenger. Ask you to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheerio!